Good morning from Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Today is the final reveal. This still isn't it. I'm going to be doing a little bit more finesse work on it. These flowers are unbelievable, some of them. There are two different types of flowering weed. One of them I like. The other one I think turns into the plant that shoots the seeds out at you when you walk by. I don't know the name of that weed, but I don't want that one in my planting if that's what this is. So I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I'm having a few issues with mineral deposits in certain places and certain areas not drying out. This area doesn't dry out so quickly, and this area doesn't. All day yesterday, this area was wet, and then when I watered it, I got it wet again, but it had been wet on its own. I think I'm going to rub muck into the joints after I seal it the next time. This way, you get the contrast of the darker against the, when the brick dries out. Excuse me, when the brick dries out, it gets lighter. I think that would look better. So I'm just going to continue with the just pruning up of these plantings and hope you can see what I'm doing. You know, I'm on the one hand, these plants are beautiful, but they're hiding the rocks. So if I take the larger leaves off, that helps them look smaller. I'm trying to get these plants to have good contact down below too. And they don't right now. And I hate to cut those flowers off, but let me just cut the real tall ones off. Maybe they have seeds. I want that plant to seed. Okay. Pruning this side to get some room for a little person to walk by. And you got to keep those little people in mind. A landscape, no matter what, unless it's one of those huge landscapes, is designed to be a miniature. I mean, a landscape in a pot, of course. So keep that in mind. Scale is like the most important thing if you're working in miniatures. And mixing of scale, sometimes you don't even know what it is that you're looking at, but it just seems wrong. Sometimes that's it. And even what I have in mind for the end of this, and I read some comments this morning. One of you has accurately guessed what it is that you would add to a park setting. And I'm not certain that I have that scale right. So, feedback, please. That's for the end. All right. I pruned this one yesterday. Hasn't grown much since then. This one I'm just in love with the way it is. And one thing I do want to say, please trust me on this. This is going to erode. I'm going to help it erode, but I'm going to let that happen over, I think, at least 2 years before. I'll obviously take this wire off as the tree grows this summer. It's just stuck in over here. I can lift that out. yes, this will erode, even if moss grows on it. And I'll just occasionally brush out a section and gradually expose those roots, but that's going to take a while. This has a root over rock element that I think will be successful, but you're not going to see that today. You're not going to see that tomorrow. I cleaned these steps with a toothbrush and a little dish detergent, and I like the way they came out. So that's what I'll do and let it dry before the next sealing, and then I'm going to rub muck into the joints and clean off the excess. I think that'll look great. All right, everything is pruned up the way I want it right now. Now I want to tackle the interfering branches, and this is going to be painful because I'm going to have to chase the green down on some of these branches that I like. I've got a lot of interference right here. I've got a lot of interference here, and there's some interference here and here. Fortunately, the other trees are far enough out of the way. I want to encourage growth over the walkway because I think that'll look really cool. And the shadows are way too long and the leaves are still way too sparse, but I hope you can see sun dappling. That's why I have the camera set up the way I do. And shadows moving over the rocks, which is pretty cool. All right, let me get to this. I hate this. I'm sorry, I know it's good for the tree, but I hate this. Okay, I'm going to zoom up on this if I can. Okay, now I got to get my thoughts back together. Okay. There is a branch that looks very healthy coming off of this branch in this direction. I like that. The other one is interfering with the other tree, so I'm going to take that off. I'll leave a stub. This branch has growth going in this direction. So if I take this branch off, I've just cleared up the interference in that branch. It's got one growing on the inside that's not going to be good in the future. It's got a nice bud on it, but that one goes away. Okay. So, okay, I've got that redirected. Next, in the same area, this branch is hitting the other tree. So what shall I do about that? Well, there's really only one thing I can do about it, and that's to take it off because I've got no growth in this area at all. I have a nice branch here. I've got one here that maybe I can redirect, but this has got to go. Okay. Further up on the tree, are we still seeing that? This is my dad's old tripod. It's pretty good. All right, moving up on the tree. This end tree will have a nice shape on its own. Just have to decide where the apex is. I don't think it's here. I think it's here. All right, so I'm going to make this tree's apex there, which means this branch has to go. I'll get as close as I can. A nice flush cut. Oh, I'll cut it off rough. Okay, so that takes care of its internal interference. I said I wanted this to be the apex, so I'm going to chase this branch back to here. That should be a big improvement. And everything else I'm going to let grow because I want this side to grow. All right, so next interference. The next interference is up higher, and I think the culprit is the big tree. So this branch has some nice taper to it, but I could get better taper. Well, let me think about that. I don't want it growing in this direction much at all. So this is my new apex of this tree, and this maybe has to go. Let me look at that. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna cut it rough. I don't even know if I'm gonna clean those cuts up today. I'll think about it. Okay, this. I'm gonna start by taking it back a little. I'll remove this branch. And I'm taking this back to here. Leaving everything else. All right, let me focus in on another big tree. I'm going to go back to what I consider to be the best front to this. This to me is the best front. Every tree is visible. The stairway is visible. If it were displayed, it would be displayed this way. And yes, there will be root over rock someday. Okay, getting back to pruning the trees. This tree wants to grow to the interior, but I'm going to take that branch back to there, reduce the interference now. And for the shape of this tree, I'm going to take everything has its own little area of sunlight, but I'm going to take this branch back to here. Remember, I pruned these trees a while back. They were in a different configuration. And I was pruning them for ramification. These trees change direction more readily than they ramify. And something else I learned from Candace the other day with regard to Chinese elms, I am not cutting any soft growth. Not that there really is much soft growth. Well, here there is. But I would not cut that. I'm only cutting hardwood. And I'm not doing a lot because these trees have had a lot of root work. And, you know, a week ago I was thinking, oh, this tree's a goner. All right, where else am I interfering? I want a low branch somewhere. I've got one coming here. I've got one coming here. Let's see. I have unfortunate bud placement on this here. I've got a nice bud right there that can grow up in that direction. And I just want to shape this tree a little nicer. So this is long and straight. I've got a bud on the inside, but I've got a little branch on the outside. I'll reduce that. Where else? Where else? Well, right here. I've got a nice little green bud opening right there, which will take the tree in that direction. And does that do it? This branch still bothers me, so that bothers me less. This branch bothers me. Well, oh, I can't wait to see this with leaf litter on it in the fall. I'm really becoming a fan of bare trees. So what I'm trying to get to in my trees is a nice looking winter. All right, enough with the pruning, on with the scale perception. I'm trying to give you a person's eye view of the finished Creative Bonsai Landscape Challenge. My entry was Central Park. My little surprises at the end were people and benches. The thing that really belies the scale of this are those flowers, but tough. I love them. I wish they were smaller. Maybe if they grow in place, I'll get pictures of them next year, smaller. This is my root over rock. Trust me. Someday, well, maybe not, but we'll see how it goes. Everything seems to be living pretty well. And from a regular angle, this is my favorite view. I'll see if I can get a better shot. Get down from there. Afternoon shadow, right? Luca, what do you think? I like it. The trees aren't interfering with one another. Are the people too much? I can't even begin to describe how good this made me feel, producing this thing that I've wanted to produce for the longest time. I want to thank Candace for nominating me. I hope you like this. Your voice goes through my head when I'm working with my trees, and to be honest, I'd never actually known that you could muck your soil before. So that brought me to another level with this as well. So thank you for the nomination. I also have a nomination, but I want to qualify it. This is repotting season, and these things tend to take a long time. At least it took me a long time to produce this. So the qualification is you start this when you can, if you accept the challenge, and you show us what you prepared. The rules are posted on each one of my videos. I did make a short. It was my first short. If getting out of your comfort zone means doing something you've never done before, I've never made a short before, and it looks like that. So my nomination for the next Creative Bonsai Landscape Challenge is Zin from Maybe Bonsai. I've seen some of your trees. I know you got a marble pot. I don't remember if it was a forest planting or what, but how about a landscape in any way you see fit? So that's my nomination. And the nominee should clearly call out Gigi Evergreen Bonsai. She's keeping a playlist of all of the Landscape Challenge results, and we'd like to see yours there as well. So Zin, please accept the challenge. I don't even know if you watch my channel, so if anyone can get in touch with Zin, let him know that I passed the torch on to him. And I hope you like my Central Park landscape as much as I've loved making it. Thank you so much for keeping me company in my backyard.